Hey everyone, welcome to There's Nobody Here Named Josh, the podcast to the name Nobody Here Named Josh. My name is Kevin. I'm joined by Will.
What's going on?
And usually Rob, but Rob's not here right now, which is a really weird thing. We were talking earlier and he thinks he's gone shopping today. But today's guest is a graphic designer. He's an artist. He created the logo that you're seeing, that There's Nobody Here Named Josh logo. He created all that stuff. His name's Aaron Alessandrini.
Hey.
So he's here. But before we begin officially, we just got to lay down the ground rules for everybody listening. There's only one. There's only one. That there's nobody here named Josh.
Okay. All right.
All right.
It's pretty exclusive behavior, but all right.
That is. It's pretty exclusive. There's nobody here named Josh, and there probably won't be for a while. So today's topic, okay, is classic 80s TV shows. Some people that may know it, some people may not. Right?
Are we completely segregated by the 80s, or are we getting into something?
No, we can go into.
We're gonna take a trip, just down the fairway towards the 90s a little bit, maybe into the cul-de-sac of the 20 or the knots
20s.
A little bit.
I meant to say 2000s, but
a little bit. But
it's been a long day.
The reason why I said 80s is because Will's only 19 years old.
Oh, that's right. He's a little baby.
he was born in 2000. So
I'm a sweet little babby.
That's right.
So
young boy.
Some of the stuff I know, some of the stuff he knows, like it's weird. He knows one of the shows that I'm going to talk about today.
Well, I mean, let's be real here. Will is a learned young man.
He is. So
tiptoeing on the fringes of pop culture.
So the way this is going to work is that I'm going to show Will 3 of my favorite and most memorable shows from my childhood, because I was born in 1981. Okay, so I was right on the cusp of all that sort of stuff.
Right.
And then I know you'll chime in with your memories about these shows, Aaron. I know that. Now,
sorry, my experience was generally rerun based.
Well, most of them are rerun based because not a lot of these shows went for any long period of time, really.
Well, at least you got to see them released, right? Like you were there sort of with the inception.
Yeah, I was there, but
even if you're a toddler.
Yeah, well, they didn't last for a very long period of time, right?
Well, we'll talk about why.
Yeah, but I can name some of the favorite ones that most people know, right? Most people know of the 80s. We'll go the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, they're classics.
He-Man, the Masters of the Universe, She-Ra, Smurfs.
I was just going to say Smurfs.
Garfield. People know those ones, right? But the ones that I'm going to talk about are 3 of my favorites as a kid, so much that I actually have a tattoo of one of them on my arm.
I've seen it. It's spectacular. And
I'm wearing a T-shirt right now of another one right now.
Which one? I want to know.
Oh, we'll get there. We're
getting there? I'm wearing mine too, actually. We went on a Redbubble spree.
Nice. Okay.
We're not sponsored. We're not sponsored.
No, we're not sponsored. I wish we were, but that would be great. But before we go along with this, if you want to follow along, if anyone, when you're listening to us right now, if you want to follow along with what we're talking about, you can go to our social media pages, which is There's No Josh on Instagram and Twitter, and you can go that There's Nobody Here Named Josh on Facebook. You can find those YouTube links to the theme songs that Will be watching. Okay,
perfect.
And I do just want to chime in super quick.
Yeah,
we take this No Josh rule very seriously.
Yes, we do.
Extremely seriously.
Yes, we do.
Any Joshes will be banned immediately.
Well, if we ever get a guest named Josh, then they have to choose a name from the drum of non-Josh names.
We should have a hat with a bunch of names in it, and just pull one out and be like, "Your name is now Kenneth."
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So again, you can check out exactly what we're watching, what Will's going to be watching on There's No Josh on Instagram and on Twitter. and there's nobody named Josh on Facebook. There you'll find YouTube links to the theme songs that we'll be watching. Will, the first one I want you to pick up, we're gonna go do this right now, okay?
All right. I already have all of them open on my browser.
Okay, the first one I want you to watch is Silverhawks.
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 I'm ready.
Okay?
I'm ready.
So you watch Silverhawks. You tell me while you're watching it, and while you're watching it, I'll tell the listeners some things about it.
Not to be confused with the porno of the similar name Silverhawks.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's a different version, of course.
It sounds like a movie I made once. So are you watching it?
Yeah, I'm about to hit play. Let's do it.
Okay, all right. So Silverhawks, believe it or not, ran on TV from 1986 to 1987 for only one season, right? 65 episodes, one season. It was created by Rankin Bass. Now, do you know who Rankin Bass is?
65 episodes, holy shit.
Yeah. Do you know who Rankin Bass is?
The name is extraordinarily familiar to me.
Rankin Bass, same dudes that brought us that classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer stop motion cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are the same people that brought Silverhawks to life, right?
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty much the same cast as one of the ones that we're going to talk about later.
Well, like the animation alone was wild for the time.
It was like top notch.
Like that intro, what Will's watching right now was. I mean, we watched that earlier this week, and I was blown away with just the level of detail and the seamlessness of the sort of the movements. Like it was actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, you're a graphic designer, you're an artist, so you would understand that and like that more than what an average layperson would, right?
Well, it's like there's a lot of chrome happening. So,
well,
I can confirm there is an absurd amount of chrome.
Yeah,
there's so much chrome, and that's not easy to pull off. Let me tell you.
No, now some of the characters in Silverhawks, right? Like I'll describe them so that way Will know which ones is the one that has half his head, like in a gold piece. That's Commander Stargazer. The main guy with the big muscles is Quicksilver. The dude who's blue with the cowboy hat and the guitar, that's Bluegrass, right?
Oh, no, there's no way.
Bluegrass.
There's
right?
no goddamn way.
Yeah, Bluegrass.
Steelheart
complete without a cowboy.
Yeah, Steelheart is the one with the helmet that looks like a football helmet, and Steel Will is his. Oh, sorry, opposite. Steelheart is the female, and Steel Will is the one that has like football helmet on. The Copper Kid is that short dude that's copper instead of chrome, and he doesn't make any English words at all. He's just he's from the planet of the mimes.
So
does he just make like gibberish noises?
It's just
primarily French, or
it's gibberish computer type noises.
Okay,
right.
I noticed a lot of similarities in his sort of overall character design with Thundercats. Actually, if you sort of look at his eyes,
you know what?
Are done up.
It's actually supposed to be Thundercats in space.
Oh,
yeah, that's because it's the same voice cast as Thundercats.
Wonder if they're in the same universe.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so and this is a wild one, so just try to bear with me here.
This is the point. You're supposed to ask questions and we'll answer them, right?
Yeah. Episode 1 of Thundercats, they were in fucking space, homie.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were.
When you say Thundercats space version of Thundercats.
Yeah. It's the same voice cast as Thundercats, but it's supposed to be Thundercats based in space. Now, Silverhawk. Now, with Thundercats, they came from space and they crashed on the planet, and most of their stuff happened on that planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But with Silverhawks, most of it happens in space. Like they fly around in their half wings of silver, nerves of steel. You know what I mean? Like
hawk ship,
partly metal, partly real, that kind of stuff, and that takes place mostly in space. And the bad guy, the red dude, his name is Monstar.
Okay,
Monstar, right?
I feel like I feel like Space Jam might have
Yeah,
riffed
Monstar.
that one a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Who's
So
the animator?
I don't know. Like
The animation studio. I mean, it's Rankin Bass Animation or Animated Entertainment, Pacific Animation Corporation. I wonder if there's any sort of crossover there with Thundercats, actually.
Oh, guaranteed there is, because Rankin Bass created Thundercats. Same studio, exactly the same studio, which is why it's the same voice cast as Thundercats.
Oh, you're starting to sound like the Copper Kid there, man.
Oh yeah. How's that?
Well, that's a little better. Yeah, you were
okay.
going through the Matrix there for a second.
Oh no,
we can't have that.
So do you have any more questions there, Will? Anything?
I mean, not really many more questions. Like, I feel like.
What's your opinion on that? Would you want to watch that? Would you want to watch that episode?
Based on like just the opening theme, like the opening intro alone. Obviously, Aaron, you said that the animation was phenomenal. I 100% agree. Like, for that time, that is amazing.
Well,
the way they mashed up the sound and the way it was all mixed proper with all the movements, that looked really
good. Yeah, like I was really impressed. I mean, for the time, you expect that. I mean, not to discount any of the wonderful work that went on, but it was a little choppier. And how many episodes was?
I have
65. You said
they did They did 65 episodes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Man, they freaking spent all that. Rudolph money.
Spent it on all the chrome.
Reindeer makes the cash, right?
Yeah, I mean, because even looking at Thundercats and some of the other shows to come out at that time, like Silverhawks being an underrated show, like
it was
65 episodes, and like the animation was just wild. Like Thundercats didn't even have that good animation.
It was second string, man. Silverhawks was second string.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like if you were to name cartoons of the 80s, guaranteed people would name Thundercats.
Yeah. I mean, that was the one that really got the most traction, I think.
Yeah, but no one, unless you're like hardcore like me, would even remember Silverhawks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Which is why Silverhawks is really, really expensive.
Well, you know what?
Right?
I think Pacific Animation Corporation,
like
it's Walt Disney Company.
It is now, probably not back then. It probably wasn't back then. Now remember, you're talking 1980, 86, and 87,
mm-hmm.
right? I was
they had a Japanese animation payroll as well.
Yeah,
the Hanho Huang Up Co. Limited.
Okay.
Is an animation studio that says here based in Seoul, South Korea. Okay, founded in 1984 by Stephen Han. So they actually had Asian animators working on this. So maybe that lends to why it was looks so good.
It's probably the same animators that Thundercats was, right?
Well, because Thundercats still has that sort of He-Man style, sort of like. I can't remember if they actually if they did overlays or what, but for lack of a better word, it was a little janky.
A little bit, but that's what made it. That's what made it awesome back then.
Yeah,
nowadays it doesn't hold up.
No, it was like G.I. Joe and a lot of those other shows. They had some repeated frames and whatnot, and there was a lot of overlay work. Where when you look at Silverhawks, like just that intro alone was like, holy crap.
Okay, so now, Will, here's your answer. Here's your question. Based on what we just talked about alone, do you have any questions about Silverhawks at all? Like anything, like what do you think the plot went, like that kind of stuff?
Honestly, no, I got nothing.
You got nothing.
No, like there's a big part of me that just kind of wants to dive in and watch all of them now.
Well, you can find them all on YouTube.
Chrome daddies in space.
Yeah, you can
You
watch.
better believe I'm gonna waste all of my time.
Yeah,
But that's a good stretch. Like 65 episodes.
It is
not bad.
That's some binging right there.
Yeah. I tried to watch. I just couldn't do it. Okay, so that's the question. Would you watch this?
100%.
All right.
Love
All
it.
right.
No doubt.
That's what I want to hear. So the next one we're going to talk about, okay, is Bravestarr. Okay. Bravestarr. So tell me when you're watching it.
All right. I'm hitting play right now.
Okay.
The only whenever I see this stuff, the only word that comes to mind is just yeah.
That's pretty much it, right? Bravestarr, it ran from 1987 to 1988 for, again, only 65 episodes.
My God, how does that qualify for a season? That's at least 2, 3.
I don't know. Back then, it was like, that's how many episodes. I guess they could pump them out like clockwork, right? It was made by Filmation, actually.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, Bravestarr was the last cartoon that Filmation Studios created before it went bankrupt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so before it was bought out, and Warner Brothers, I think, has the rights to Bravestarr right now. It's considered a space western, right? I
think we know what happened to Filmation.
Yeah. So it was considered a space western. The main characters, I'm just going to name the 3 main characters. It's Marshall Bravestarr, which is supposed to be a Native American cowboy in space.
Is he the space marshal?
He's the space marshal, Marshall Bravestarr.
Cool.
He's supposed to have the strength of the bear, speed of the puma, eyes of the hawk.
Oh God.
And another one that I can't remember off the top of my head.
What happened in the 80s, guys? Why are there so many space cowboys?
This is just race crimes.
It is.
Like the fact that he's a Native American cowboy.
Native American cowboy in space. And the bad guy is The bad guy is Tex Hex. Tex Hex.
Okay.
Tex Hex. Hex. Yeah.
Was he supposed to be like a wizard?
Yeah,
no,
he's not a bag of assorted shredded cheese.
No. No, that's Tex Mex.
Yeah,
that's his cousin from Mexico.
Jesus Christ.
Hey man, I told you in the very first episode that this whole thing is going to be not safe for work. So we
the show isn't for kids.
There we go.
We only mentioned so the babies out there know how cool they are for listening.
Tex-Mex, and he's a Mexican conquistador because
that's right.
Apparently, we're just joining opposition scene.
And the bad guy was Tex Hex. That's the dude with the sunken face with the big long mustache and hair.
Mm-hmm.
And his horse, Marshall Bravestarr's horse, was known as a techno horse.
It's a space horse. You can say it.
Space horse.
Space horse.
No, not even an anthropomorphic space horse.
And his name is 3030.
Oh Christ!
Which is actually pretty cool because it sounds like a rifle.
Yeah, 3030, and he can morph. He transforms from an actual looking horse to
a man horse.
A man horse with a big horse head, right?
I'm gonna need a minute.
You're killing me, man.
So that's Bravestarr for you in a nutshell.
I am so surprised that there are not more furries devoting their time to 3030, because that is right up their alley.
I could.
It was exactly furry. Like I saw it, and that's the first thing I thought of.
Like that is a furry's wet dream. Like
again, it aired from September 1987 to February 1988. Right,
as a year.
Yeah, 1 year.
65 episodes in a year. Holy
but
shit.
you're looking at an episode a day.
Yeah, but think about how much work. Like they must have had a massive production team for both of these shows.
Yeah,
to do that, my God.
There was a feature film. about this. It's called Bravestarr the Legend. You know,
Of course.
It's supposed to be, the planet that he's on is supposed to be called New Texas.
What happened to Old Texas?
I don't know. It's New Texas.
Old Texas
right?
wasn't as liberal liberal with a Native American cowboy.
And what's
the love
really
of his
weird,
techno horse.
what's really weird is that Bravestarr is actually set in our universe, because New Texas is actually supposed to be like 1,957 light years from Earth.
Okay, so it's way, way in the future when
Yeah.
Native Americans have completely forgotten about.
Oh, yeah, that's what I remember. Eyes of the Hawk. He's supposed to
Is that
have
ever going to happen, Ryan?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, all cultural norms meld into one thing where you get Native American cowboys and
techno horses.
Techno horses and
Eyes of the Hawk.
Anthropomorphic horses.
Anthropomorphic horses.
Excuse you.
Yeah. Bags of mixed cheddar.
just sentient bags of cheese.
Cheese.
Nacho people love it.
I won't stop until the whole universe is cheesy.
So that's Bravestarr in a nutshell, man.
There's a photo of it's actually the Wikipedia photo, and it's Marshall Bravestarr and 3030, and they're just winking at each other, and it's the
that was in the intro.
Yeah, and it's very, very just laden sexual tension.
Well, they do spend an awful lot of time together.
They do.
I mean, who knows what they get up to?
And he can transform his body, so you know what else transforms, right?
It's New Texas. No. It's
and
far more liberal New Texas.
And you know what they say about horses, right?
I'm looking at the supporting characters, and the first one I see, Angus McBride. I'm happy to know my family lives on in this universe.
You've made it, man. You've made it.
I forgot to mention, there's one really infamous episode of Bravestarr.
Oh no.
Where
are we getting to like Porygon and Pokemon levels infamous? Or?
No. It's an episode called The Price.
Oh, The Price.
Okay. Which a little boy, like this guy couldn't be any more than like 12 years old, buys a drug called Spin, which is kind of similar to LSD, becomes addicted to it, and dies of an overdose.
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here it is. I just found it on the Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They got real upfront with their whole anti-drug message in this one.
Yeah. Yeah. So they would, it was, oh man, just, okay, that's the shirt I'm wearing right now.
The Bravestarr.
I'm wearing my Bravestarr shirt, right?
Awesome.
So like, I bought a Thundercats shirt, a Silverhawks shirt, and a Bravestarr shirt. Again, I'm probably the only person in this city that remembers these ones. But
maybe we'll see.
Well, maybe. Hopefully, people.
Could be some other.
I'm gonna start going around town.
Enthusiasts.
Start asking people once
this comes
current
out.
Events stop.
Yeah.
On specific current events.
The COVID.
Oh, we're not supposed to talk about that.
That's right. We can't.
We can't talk about that. We can't talk about that.
The beer. It's everywhere.
The beer. We're gonna call it the beer.
The beer.
The beer.
Beer's everywhere.
The beer is everywhere. Yeah. So okay. So that's Bravestarr. Do you have any questions about Bravestarr?
Why?
Why? No, why?
Why? Well, it was made to sell toys, right?
Well, yeah, a lot of shows back then were, but like Filmation, did they just have to get their hand in the pot of Space Cowboys? Like,
I don't know.
I mean, if you want to see Space Cowboys done right, watch Cowboy Bebop. I mean, that's awesome. That is a space western. You know what I mean? Without the tropes of like, I'm a talking horse and we got cowboy hats.
Bluegrass.
Believe it or not, 3030 didn't talk like that. 3030, he was a gruff kind of.
I'm 3030.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly it, right there.
I'm a fucking horse.
Yeah,
Who's gonna change my horseshoes?
that's exactly the way he talked, right? And
Because of course,
Bravestarr talked like he's one of those mellow voiced.
Don't do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
I was very worried.
You do it. You can do it.
I'm not doing it.
No.
Remember,
No one
this
is doing this.
This is a not safe for work podcast.
Give me the spirit of the bear. 3030. You can't come into the bar like a horse. You must be a man.
Not quite like that, but close.
That would have been amazing. I would have watched the shit out of that show.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna like race band like that, go all the way. Like,
well, I don't know.
Bravestarr.
So okay, so that's Bravestarr in a little bit.
Fast like Puma.
Yeah. So, oh man. So Will.
Yeah.
Will, would you watch this show?
Oh God. If I were to watch the show, I don't think I would admit it, honestly.
Really?
That's one of those guilty pleasure shows.
It's 2020. If I were to tell people, hey, I watch a space western action adventure science fiction show about a Native American cowboy and a talking anthropomorphic horse, people are going to run in the opposite direction I am.
Let's not forget, he's not just a Native American cowboy. He's also a witch.
Yeah.
Because apparently he's got druidic powers.
He has powers, remember?
He's got magic powers.
Eyes of the hawk, ears of the wolf, speed of the puma, and strength of the bear.
And we don't want to know what he did to get those.
No,
we don't. No, please don't.
Crimes against humanity.
Yeah,
against animals.
His spirit animals, right?
Yeah.
His spirit animals.
A lot of peyote to get those.
Well, I guess his peyote. I guess there would be a kind of a form of peyote in this show because the point of this show is that Tex
you don't know what the fuck's going on.
You don't know. Tex Hex is looking for a like a gem type thing called curium, right? So it's a red rock called curium.
Okay.
And that's what they're looking for, and that's
and when you smoke it,
yeah.
you get the eyes of a hawk.
Strength of the bear.
Strength of the bear. That's right.
Yeah.
There's a curium epidemic in New Texas.
That's right. So
we know what the price was about.
He was taught by this guy, which is going to be really funny, called Shaman.
Of course.
Shaman.
Fucking sure.
Yeah. Well,
why not?
Obviously. This guy was capable of teleportation and time travel and psychokinesis and clairvoyance, and he was.
This just went from 0 to 100 really fast. Our baseline of 0 was space horses.
Yeah.
It's so space horses and God, apparently.
Space horses and God. That's pretty much it right there. Pretty much it right there.
I would say lazy writing, but that's 65 episodes of pure gold.
You can actually watch them. I watched each and every one of those. Each and every one.
Okay. What's next?
All right. So Will, you would watch that? Are you going to watch it?
I think I might.
Okay.
I actually, I need to, the curiosity is killing me of what happens in this show to make it 65 episodes long.
Okay. So now you need to watch the show. Okay.
I have 2 shows I got to watch so far.
Now, this is the third one. This is the longest one. This is probably what we're going to talk about the longest. So Will, go watch the Thundercat one.
I'm pressing play right now.
Thundercats. Okay.
Thundercats.
Exactly. Now, Thundercats, it
the
ran
best
from
theme song.
It ran from 1985 to 1989. Okay. Also by Rankin Bass, the same people who did the Silverhawks and, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. 130 episodes spread over 3 seasons.
That's phenomenal.
It has 2 reboots. In 2011, the reboot only lasted 1 season. I think it was about 15 episodes in 1 season. And now there's a reboot. The Cartoon Network has a reboot out right now called Thundercats Roar.
Yeah, that's right, 2020.
Which I will not watch.
Yeah.
I will not watch.
Good. 2 video games.
Yeah, 2 video games.
87 and 2012.
I've played them both, and they're both very awful.
And a comic series, apparently.
Oh yeah. Comic book series galore. Characters: Lion-O, Panthro, Tigra, Chitara, Wily Kit, Wily Cat, Jaga, Snarf.
Jaga.
Don't forget my boy Snarf.
Yeah,
Snarf. That is not allowed.
Mumra was actually voted one of the scariest villains from the 1980s.
He was actually pretty awesome. That was a damn good villain.
Oh, he was amazing.
Yeah, he's one of the scariest villains in cartoon history. At least I like to think so. Mm-hmm. Right?
I could agree.
It was created in Japan.
Oh, grip it and rip it. Nice.
Nice. Are you doing bong tokes while you're talking?
No, I'm drinking Tall Boys.
Oh. Well, I'm having Starbucks right here, so
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with my water.
Yeah, I'm having Starbucks. I live right down the road from a Starbucks, so I can't help it.
It's the weekend, and I have depression. So I'm just
it's the weekend. After this, I'm gonna have a joint. I can't.
There you go. Yeah, smoke a joint and watch some Bravestarr.
Yeah, you need to watch all 3 of these high as a fucking kite.
Thundercats is pretty badass.
High as a kite.
Yeah. Love Thundercats.
So Thundercats, again, there was tons of stuff. Comics, video games, films. There was supposed to be a movie made of Thundercats in the middle of its run on actual TV, but because of how horrible Transformers did when it first came out, the Transformers movie, the animated movie back in the 80s, it did horrible, and they just scrapped it. But instead, they actually took the movie and created 5 episodes of the show out of it.
Nice.
Yeah, 5. Well, I think I remember that, actually.
Yeah, so they created 5 episodes of the show out of it. It was called Thundercats Ho.
Yeah.
And that's what that was all about.
We laugh now, but
well, which Transformers was the first one? Was that what the big planet?
Yeah, the death of Optimus Prime. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. I mean, later that film got a pretty big cult following. But
well, most of those films got a giant cult following back then, but it did horrible.
And a lot of that is always studio interference too.
Yeah. So, like I said, it was followed by a TV movie called Thundercats Ho in 1986.
Or producer interference, I should say.
Yeah. So again, with Thundercats, tons of shit. The plot of Thundercats, if people who don't know, there's cat-like humanoid aliens. They come from this planet called Third Earth. They end up on this planet called Third Earth, but they're escaping from their own world called Thundera, which is exploding, kind of like a la Superman.
Yeah.
And
need a plot device, blow up a planet.
Exactly, pretty much. So they escape their planet, Thundera, which is exploding. The bad guys, called the Mutants of Plundar, follow them onto this planet called Third Earth, which is actually supposed to be the Earth that we're on right now, but the third version of our Earth.
Yeah, just a little bit to the left.
Right? So
in the parallel universe.
Yeah, so it's just a third version of our Earth. and when they go, they're in this big ship.
Because why not?
They're in this big ship, and Lion-O starts out as a 10-year-old boy, right? So he's the last, he's the king of the Thundercats, and he's a 10-year-old boy, and the mutants damage their ship while in space because they had this big battle.
That's right. I remember.
They damage their ship, and while they're in space, big battle. They go into these pods, and
they're cryogenesis pods.
Yeah,
whatever.
Cryogenic pods and shit, and
and shit.
And Jaga stays back and pilots the ship, and he grows old and he dies, and the ship explodes over Third Earth, crashes onto Third Earth. And all the other Thundercats aren't phased whatsoever.
Right.
None of them.
Well, Lion-O suddenly is an adult.
Yeah. Like
he
all
gets
of a sudden,
hit with the puberty stick really hard.
Really, really hard.
And I would actually argue his mental state has
stayed the same.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, he's essentially
he
a child.
Quite fast too. Or
yeah,
quite fast, rather.
He is essentially a child in the body of an adult. Right? So that's pretty much what that is.
Yeah.
That's Thundercats in a nutshell. Right?
Mumra, every kid at that age wanted that experience. I want to be a giant anthropomorphic cat man.
I personally looked up to Lion-O because as a redhead, back in I know, but back
ginger idol.
He was because back in the 80s there really wasn't a lot of redheaded characters on TV.
That's because gingers have no souls.
That's why you're right. We don't have any soul. We don't
that
have
that is a very modern take.
We don't have any souls. We have all of the souls.
Oh God!
And none of them all at once.
And none of them. That's hashtag deep.
Well, I mean it's a good plot device too, because now you're constantly given opportunities to show growth in that character, which is really cool because you've got this kid who's now thrust into a position of power. And he has to learn and grow.
And adulthood. Power and adulthood.
And adulthood, yeah. So he's got responsibilities. So he looks at everything with the naivety and wonderment of a child. Is sort of, like I said, it's great to be able to, here's an episode of why you shouldn't be a dick and why sharing is good. And
that's pretty much
now you're a man.
That's pretty much what it was. Well, there was actually 5 specific episodes that they did that. I forget what it's called. It was called Lion-O's Anointment.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But then I think they threw that out the window and he was just a man pretty quickly.
Well, after this one, yeah. Yeah.
Just okay, we're done with the kid storyline. It's like you're just a guy now.
Yeah, that's pretty much what
you
that
get it
is.
now. You know how to do stuff.
Yeah, you're done the tutorial.
Yeah. A whole life is tutorial. You know what I mean? Whole life is a tutorial. I wish I can get my money back.
Yeah, no kidding.
But
I know, right?
But yeah, so yeah, it's the Thundercats.
This is where we play the sad violin.
If I could find a sad violin music, I'll play that. I'll get our.
Eventually, we gotta get the sample board up so we can start playing music and stuff.
Eventually, I just need to learn how to play this goddamn keyboard.
There you go. But yeah, so I mean, the main thread again is toy sales, really.
That's exactly it, right? Like the Thundercats were created, the toys were created before the show was.
Mm-hmm.
So that way they can model the characters off the toys. So that way, when a kid like me, 6, 7 years old, 8 years old, goes and see these toys in the shop, I want to get it because it looks exactly like what I see on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm looking at my shelf right now. I have all my Thundercats toys sitting out right now on a shelf in front of me.
Collectibles.
All collectibles right now. My collectibles, right?
That's right.
And so I have them
biggest
sitting
comic
there.
book nerd I know.
Well, I'm not a comic book nerd because I don't collect
figurine nerd. Would you rather that?
I don't collect comic books. I collect 80s and 90s toys. So I'm looking at them right now. Like my shelf right now, I'm looking at it, has Thundercats, Silverhawks, and Bravestarr all on one shelf.
Well, that's interesting how many things guide that design process too, right? Like you're looking at some of animation. You're looking at cost analysis as well, like how much is it going to cost. There's painting of the toys. There's all these things like that, right? So you that really sort of guided a lot of that stuff as well. I mean, like, you take the Thundercats, for example, like you look at their color palettes and their things, right? So that being transferred to the physical realm, there's a lot of thinking and like the planning that goes into that process, right?
And the sturdiness of the toys too.
Yeah, that's
Like
why that's
the
make
make
Oh
of
yeah,
these
just general
toys.
quality.
Yeah, a lot of
material.
stuff went into that, and
Yeah. Toys like that aren't made like that anymore. Toys these days aren't made like that, because I have toys up here that are older than both of you,
yeah.
and they
That doesn't
still
surprise me.
are working just like they would if I would have take them out of the package. You know what
I
mean?
had like a set of the 5 lions from the old Voltron series.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
That's an
Yeah,
amazing
that
one.
was
What'd you
that,
do with them?
like I think it's hiding in the basement right now.
Well, if you take them out, I'll buy them from you.
We'll talk about that later.
I'll buy them from you. If you have all 5 lions from the Voltron series, like the old school Voltron series, I will buy them from you right now.
Well,
Yeah, I'll have to see like if they're actually in the basement, if they're hiding somewhere down there,
All right.
or if my
man,
mom sold them and sold
I
them
had
herself.
So many toys. I had all the Ninja Turtle stuff and Megatron and like Power Rangers gear. Like,
When
sucks when it kind of goes missing. And you look back and you're like, oh my god, if I only kept those things.
Well, you know what? Like, I just recently bought all these Thundercats back because when I was a kid back in the 80s, my mom and dad were kind of forward thinking back then.
Mm-hmm.
They bought me 2 of every one that came out. One to take
one package.
That's right. One to take out and play, and one to package. Right.
That's
so
smart.
I had everything, like every Thundercat ever made, every play set, every vehicle, everything.
Jesus.
One out to play with, and one still in the box. And so when my parents separated, my mom sold them all in yard sales.
Oh god.
While I was in school, my mom would have yard sales, and she sold them all.
Well,
Yard selling, like
that's
finding
vicious.
a toy like that in a yard sale is better than going on Amazon or eBay and sorting by low to high.
Like,
Right.
what they would be worth now too. Like,
I looked them up. One Lion-O. Okay, my Lion-O toy that I have up there is complete. It's complete.
Mhm.
I have all the pieces that I need.
What's it worth boxed?
Pardon?
What's it worth boxed?
In the package, on card, as what they call it,
Yeah, on card.
on card, a complete Lion-O is worth anywhere between $300 and $800.
Jesus Christ! Did you ever tell her this?
Oh yeah.
Give her shit.
Oh yeah. I said to her, I go, you know what? You sold all those toys, where if I still had them, I could have sold them and paid my way through the first semester of college.
Oh, easily, and then some.
And then some. Easily. I had everything. I had the Thunder Tank. I had all of it.
I love the names. Thunder
Well,
Tank.
It was a Thunder Tank, right? Thunder Tank, it looked like a cat. It looked like a tank because it had treads, and a gun pops out of the back.
Mhm.
And it's
all that.
Thundercats, so
Right.
Thunder Tank.
Everything had thunder in it, right? Thunder Tank, Thunder Claw,
I mean, Sword of Omens didn't exactly have the word thunder in
This
it.
was something I was thinking about too. I just looked it up. There was a vinyl shortage, or an oil crisis, sorry, in 1973, 74. Because I know this because I collect records. I have a lot of records, and there's a thing you can actually age certain records because they're a lot thinner. You can pick them up and shake them; they almost like flop like a piece of paper. They're really thin because there was an oil crisis, 73, 74, I guess. And so I was just wondering. I couldn't remember what year it was, and I just looked it up because that'd be really interesting to see how that would have impacted toy creation stuff as well. But since most of these toys were created in the mid to late 80s. not so much, I'm guessing. But it's really interesting because if you go back and look at vinyl records, you can tell, just by picking it up when it was minted, because feel how thin it is. This was back when it affected the record industry immensely. They had to really cut down on the amount of plastics they were using, the oil, to make the vinyl. Because you figure that would have impacted toy sales as well. So I think if you look back at the 70s, you can see with the toys, if they were using vinyl, or the same sort of process.
Exactly sure what these toys are made out of, but they're sturdy as all hell, man. Like, these toys have seen 30 years of being in a basement, or 30 years of sitting in a box in a dank room somewhere. You know what I mean?
That hard plastic. Well, that's actually, this is interesting too. That's how Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe got his trademark look. Is because they ran out of money. And they needed to put a new toy out, so they just made this. It's literally, I can't remember the name of the guy, the white guy from Cobra, the Cobra Commander's side. He's like the ninja. They basically took the character model for that, changed his head, and just pressed him with black plastic and didn't fucking paint him. And they're like, Snake Eyes, he's a ninja, and it literally came out of the fact that they didn't have the money to paint a new character.
So I'm looking a little bit into what they would have used in around the 80s for making these sorts of toys, and what plastics they used. And one of the things I found was a polyester film stock.
Ooh.
Yeah. It looks like I haven't looked into it too much just yet, but it looks like they used it a lot for more flexible packaging, and I'm assuming if it was condensed enough, they could make a relatively durable plastic out of it.
Oh, that would have been for the packaging, yeah. That's that the see-through plastic they put on everything. Yeah, I wonder the actual construction of the toys themselves is because they were dense. Like, you could huck that thing at a wall, right?
Oh, yeah. I
wonder if it was a resin of some sort,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not exactly sure what they were made from.
Made of dreams and love and hope and imagination.
Yeah.
And the money of moms from the 1970s and 80s.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, what's next on the list?
Well, I was only going to do 3, and then Rob was going to do a couple of his. But since Rob's not here,
calling you out, Rob.
I'm calling you out, bud.
Yeah, I figured that we could do, I could name another cartoon and we can talk about that. Like, even though you haven't,
we could do that.
Up.
You got your list up? Okay.
I've got my list up.
So there was a cartoon that's still on TV right now, only because they did a reboot of it. DuckTales.
Oh, I love DuckTales.
Oh my god.
Tales. Good old Scrooge McDuck.
DuckTales was great. I thoroughly enjoyed
that was
DuckTales.
A time.
1987 to 1990.
Mm-hmm.
1987 to 1990. Then they did a reboot of it a couple years back.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Yeah. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. His nephews, which are,
Somebody, a YouTuber, did a mathematical breakdown of Scrooge McDuck's vault. And all the money that they took.
I saw that.
I think it was MatPat. I'm not 100% sure, but they broke down okay, judging by the size of the vault and blah blah blah, how much money he actually had. It was pretty wild. Needless to say, he definitely earned the whole being the richest bastard in the world.
Well, you have to think when it comes to DuckTales, you got to think Indiana Jones, but with ducks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, what was the one with was it not Chippendales?
Chippendales Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, the two characters were based directly off of Indiana Jones and Tom Selleck's character from something.
Magnum PI.
Magnum PI, yeah.
Yeah, Magnum PI.
Directly, their look was directly influenced by those two characters, which was hilarious. Yeah, we just found it. Film Theories. It was MatPat. How rich is Scrooge?
Yeah. So there you go. See?
If you guys get a chance, check that out. It's actually hilarious.
You can find that link on our social media page, because anything we talk about Not everything, because that'd be a big long list, but most of the stuff that we talk about, you'll find on all our social media pages and whatnot.
Contrary to popular belief, as Scrooge McDuck would have you believe, rather, you cannot swim in a pool of coins.
No, you definitely cannot.
No, you cannot.
That would end poorly.
Yeah, do not try that.
Yeah,
I feel like so listeners, watch how the toys that shaped us.
Yes,
made us.
The toys that made us on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah,
literally, like a lot of the stuff that we've sort of covered, they go into way more detail because they actually talk to the manufacturers, they talk to the designers, the people who did this stuff, and it is absolutely incredible. I took such a hard fall down the nostalgia hole with that one and learned a bunch of stuff about things. I had toys and things I didn't even know, but it was so well done, well edited, well cut, well researched. Everyone, from the animators to the designers to the executives, all these people that were involved in every facet of the process. Just well done show.
It is. It's really, really. Have you seen it, Will?
No, I'll have to check that out. Actually,
yeah,
definitely. It's
the
so
toys that
worth your time.
Toys that made us. Okay, so we're just talking about DuckTales. Like Indiana Jones with ducks. It had a full length animated feature that you actually went to the theaters to watch. DuckTales, the movie, The Treasure of the Lost Lamp. They did a reboot in the series in 2017, I think the series was. And you can't help but think about the DuckTales theme song.
Yep.
Right? We can't play it here, but if you want to go look it up, DuckTales theme.
That's such a testament of the time, right? Like it's the 80s, it's the 90s. Everything's going to sound just awesome because that's some of the best music came from those eras.
Like guitar riffs and just keyboard solos. It was just
catchy.
A thing.
Needlessly, addictingly catchy because that was it, right? That was the hook to sell the toys. And you're walking down the aisle in Walmart, you're humming the.
Now, what kid in the 1980s didn't want to be He-Man? Right? He-Man.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, when I was getting into my cartooning, He-Man was a little passé for me. But
well, in the 80s, when were you born, man?
I was born 89.
Okay, so you're right at the end. He-Man wasn't even on TV.
No,
in 89.
Like I said, I would have caught all these as reruns and Saturdays.
Have you Seen He-Man? Will, have you seen him?
Oh yeah, of course I've seen He-Man.
Like the original He-Man. Yeah,
He-Man.
That's right.
And the Masters of the Universe.
That's right.
Beastman.
That was really good. It ran from 83 to 85, right? It was supposed to be a ripoff of Conan the Barbarian.
Right?
Well,
again, it was Conan was sort of the influence. They wanted like a sort of softer Conan, and here's the thing again, which was designed specifically to sell toys. There was no show. It was just like, here's a bunch of cartoons I've drawn of these characters for this toy line. And the whole idea was like, well, okay, how are we going to sell these toys? Let's make a show. And that, again, it's all in that Toys Made Us. But
I was about to say that. I was just about to say that.
It's incredible how many TV shows were literally created to sell toys.
Now, it really is interesting when you think about that.
Well, back then, the early 80s and 90s, that's exactly it, right?
That was just such a powerful market. Like, could you imagine that?
That doesn't work now. Like, we can go back to Thundercats, for example. In 2011, they Warner Brothers rebooted Thundercats. Okay, rebooted the whole thing.
I tried to watch an episode, and
do you want to know why it only lasted one season?
It was bad
because no one bought the toys.
Nobody cares about that kind of stuff anymore.
Nobody bought the toys because they thought that they would make a reboot of a series that was created to sell toys, so that way they can sell more toys of that series.
Well, it's not necessarily toys that you have to try to sell now. A lot of it is online market.
Yeah, no one bought the toys.
That's it. It's an entirely different world. Like, that kind of thing's not going to cut it anymore.
Well, no one bought the toys but me.
I mean, like Funko Pops.
Yeah, I mean Funko Pops and stuff, but that is all appealing to a collector's market of people our age who grew up with those things, right? Like when you go buy Funko Pops, it's like, oh my god, there's an Indiana Jones, or there's a He-Man, or I found one. It was a freaking Happy Gilmore, Bob Barker. I got it from a buddy for his birthday. Like there's the Funko Pop thing is literally playing off of your love for nostalgia. It's like, here's a really cute snippet of that thing you love. And, they're barely getting taken out of the boxes. Like, I've got, like, maybe a dozen Funko Pops. I've got a couple of the D&D ones as well, and they're still in the box hanging out. I got a Dark Crystal Funko Pop. It's hilarious.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and, like, they're there. They're to collect, they're to look at, they're to kind of just oogle, but it doesn't have that same sort of buying power as like, hey, here's a character and the ancillary characters, and they're all part of a family or a team, and guess what? There's a fucking show that you can watch, you can be a part of, and you can hold your toy and giggle and like watch this show, and whoa, it's amazing. Like, we don't get that anymore. It's not a thing that
the closest thing you could have to that would be like an app with in-app purchases to unlock certain characters from a show.
Well, you know what? It's the closest thing we have to that is actually Fortnite. There is a massive amount of Fortnite toys. Like
Expensive, like really, really expensive.
And like I took a stroll through Walmart every now and then. Walmart or wherever, whatever big box store you've got, and you go to the toy aisle, and sometimes I love to go and look and see what sort of is the toys happening right now. And I mean, you've got like your Transformers and everything else. They've always got to do the releases of the new and updated things, but Fortnite has had a massive surgence of just like action figures and toys and accessories and things. Even like Halloween time comes around, and there's like a ton of.
Oh yeah,
and I think right now that's probably the closest thing we have to that sort of collectability market where there's like
I didn't even consider
thing.
Gaming like that.
Yeah, well, because you've got like how many different outfits and accessories and stuff in the game that are completely exclusive, and then if you go to the toy shop and you say, oh my god, there's the freaking luchador man, that like, it's like, oh sick, and then I see that.
There's that weird unicorn thing.
Yeah, that unicorn head is everywhere. But that's the closest thing we have right now to that style of let's have a toy bridge the gap between tangible and media.
Now, speaking of toys, there was one cartoon in the 80s that sold so much toys. It was unreal, and they're still selling toys to this day. From 1987 to 1996, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon.
Yes. That is a toy goldmine.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon. If the listeners haven't seen this, you need to look it up. If you haven't seen
the Turtles, are you even a human?
Yeah.
Well, they might be a reptile.
Yeah. That's actually really funny. Again, the big challenges they had porting the toy from the comic was the tail.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because it looked like a penis.
It did.
Yeah, the silhouette was really off-putting, and so like they had this little nubby tail, and it just looked. So they ended up having to scrap the tail completely.
I had a toy back in the day where the toy morphed from. It was like one of those changeable ones where you can change the full-size two-legged turtle down to their turtle form.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
And I remember the toy having a tail.
That was an early one.
Yeah,
well, yeah, because it transformed into an actual turtle. So
yeah, I remember the toy having a tail. But the toys were hot. The video games were fun. The feature-length 1990 movie.
Oh, it was all around just like well done. But there's a reason for that.
The Turtles movie from 1990 is literally the finest comic book film, the best comic book film ever made. In my opinion.
The movie actually scared me as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Well, you've seen those turtle costumes, right?
Yeah, it was interesting.
the original '90s movie was one of the best ones ever made. It went
no doubt.
severely downhill after.
But I understand Will's apprehension. They were pretty creepy. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
Well, I saw the animated TV series before I saw that movie. Like a bunch.
Well, it was a real challenge to bring them into real life too.
Oh yeah, it was. That was the last movie Jim Henson ever worked on was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze.
And then the film sort of went downhill.
Yeah.
Very
badly.
The reason I think that whole thing was so successful was because it was a comic beforehand, right? Like it had a cushion.
It was an adult. It was an adult comic.
It was pretty messy, but then it started to lighten up as the years went on, and they got more exposure into the world and started to morph into something that was a little more kid oriented for sure. But yeah, it started off as a pretty dark and noir sort of comic, but again, it had that cushion to rely on. That cushion of just fantastic writing, awesome characters, passion, and it was born of these two guys who knew what they were doing, like they had something special.
Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird.
Right, and then it evolved from there, right? So that's why the show was so good, was because they were involved. That's why, the toys were great, and the movie was good, and as they got older, nothing shines forever, right? Like you're always going to run into something that causes degradation, either because they split up, like
they did, yeah.
They had a falling out.
You can find all this information on that Toys That Made Us on Netflix.
That's true, yeah, they did, and he's got a huge collection too. Did you see his wall?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Now, before we move on to the next one, Will,
what's up?
Do you know? You seem to be.
Yeah, I'm also here.
Yeah, you're silent. You're a lot silent. You can chime in too.
I don't really have much I can say, honestly.
Do you know what the connection between the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon is?
Was it Will Smith?
No.
Oh my
Now
god!
I'm
I know
sad.
this.
I know this. Do you know it?
I know this.
I don't.
The voice,
Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil.
No
Phil.
way.
Yeah, the voice of the original Shredder in the 1980s cartoon movie.
No.
Cartoon was Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
In Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I did. No.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now when you go back and watch that cartoon, because I know you will, when you go watch that cartoon,
in my head, I have like an image of Uncle Phil and just like a Shredder mask on him.
Yeah. James Avery. That's
James Avery. That's right.
James Avery.
Oh my god.
Another thing too about the Turtles toys was they got really ridiculous.
Oh my god! Every form of you could find astronaut turtles or cowboy turtles. You could find plumbers.
I shit you not.
Cowboys.
I know, right? I
don't
shit
know.
you not. There was a Ninja Turtles toy. I can't remember which turtle it was, but he was in a fucking painter's outfit. Like,
that one doesn't surprise me as much.
Like he was painting houses for a living.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that
like that kind of outfit, like a painter's schmuck that was covered in paint, and he had like a roller. And it was like there was one where he was in like board shorts, and it was just they got so ridiculous for so long. We're just like
the Turtles really were running out of work, weren't they?
Literally,
they did. They had every kind of toy. Like I
knew rent in New York was intense, but I didn't think the sewer would be that expensive.
I wish that like the toy company would come back and remake them, or like make more toys in the same molds and everything as they were in designs, but come out with adult versions where it's like, here's hungover Raphael, or he's in like a house coat and slippers.
Okay, so I looked up some
Stoned Mikey.
Yeah, exactly. Mikey with a bong and a Grateful
I looked
Dead
up
t-shirt.
I looked up some of the Turtles, some of the ridiculous Turtle stuff.
Yes, oh my god.
Raphael the Magnificent. So it was Raphael as a magician.
Oh my god! Why?
Right? He came complete with a top hat, an R-branded suit jacket, swanky white gloves.
Do you think he would get like really frustrated if his trick wouldn't work, or if no volunteers came up?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like he's the last person to be a magician. The guy's a rageaholic.
Yeah.
Donnie or Mikey, I can see being
I could
a
100%
magician.
see Mikey being a magician.
Well,
I think Mikey 100% would. Donnie would look into the practice of it for sure.
Speaking of Mikey, I have another one here.
Oh, here we go.
Where they dressed up Michelangelo as the Macho Man Randy Savage.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yep. The Macho Man Randy Savage.
Way.
Yep. The whole 9 yards.
Oh my God. I'm gonna have to get that from my buddy.
The Macho Man shirt and the glasses and the whole 9 yards.
I'm looking this up right now.
Yeah. Ooh yeah.
Cowabunga!
The Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah.
That's
and then there's this abomination. Chief Leo.
Oh my god, it is a thing.
Chief Leo.
Oh my fucking God. Chief Leo. So it was Leonardo dressed in some very questionable Native American garb.
Oh god.
No.
Yep. Look it up. Chief Leo.
Oh my god, it's true.
Leo.
Oh wow, that is so inappropriate.
Yeah, Chief Leo.
But okay. And then there was a Raphael that was dressed up like a Confederate soldier. What the
I'm looking at that picture right now.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Was there just no quality control?
Can we just take a quick minute to appreciate how accurate that is to the characters, though? Like the personalities.
Yeah, really. But what was the train of thought here?
What were they thinking? When did this come out?
They just I don't know.
Oh my god, it was 1992.
1992.
Yeah, I got another one here. Bandito Bashin' Mike.
Wow.
Bandito Bashin'
Mike. He was wearing some...
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it says this figure is one burrito and a menudo CD away of being rarely seen. You know what I mean?
This is the most racist looking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, curled mustache, sombrero, bandolier, golden tooth, the whole one.
It's just Mexican stereotypes.
Yeah.
Well, and then they had Raph as a Yukon hunter with the raccoon hat and the tassel jacket, and then cowboy.
Oh my lord!
Then there's Farmer Donatello. Farmer Donatello. It's one of the it's pretty bad. I knew a guy that had all these toys. He had
oh my Christ!
Oh, it was really, really bad. Really racist. It was just horrible.
And it's just
I've seen and heard some pretty racist shit, but Jesus,
it was just really bad. They thought of everything. Here's the sailor Michelangelo.
Oh my god, they did mutant militia or mutant military, where all the characters have military outfits.
Yep.
Oh my god, they just it didn't matter what it was. I think they had a hat with just a million different occupations and ethnic stereotypes, and it was just all right, guys, it's time to release a new line of toys. What are we doing this week? I don't know, let's do Leonardo as a Jew.
Back then, that would have been a thing.
And that's the thing, is they got away with it because that's hilarious.
1992, in the early 90s, man, no one cared.
It's the golden age of.
No one gave a shit. No one gave a shit about anything.
Oh my god!
You know what I mean?
Well, it's a toys. It's kids. It's toys for kids. They're always gonna care.
Okay, you need to look up these turtles. Okay, these are the weirdest ass LSD looking turtles ever.
Oh
They're
no!
Called Pizza Tossin' Ninja Turtles. Look them up.
Oh my god!
Okay,
I remember.
Listeners, I need you to look them up. Look on your phone.
Why does it sound familiar?
Look them up. Look at what these turtles look like.
When did this happen?
Pizza Tossin' Ninja Turtles. I'll give you a second. Go ahead.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yep. Big ass, buggy eyeballs, tongues hanging out.
Why do
Like,
they look like they're in the
what
middle of
the
a prostate
hell?
exam?
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh my god. Yeah.
look at these turtles, man.
Well, and like this was in response to, hey, we've got toys that shoot stuff.
Yeah.
Let's make the turtles shoot stuff. What are they going
Now-
to shoot? Pizzas out of ovens embedded in their chests, and it will also make it look like they're having an existential nightmare.
Now, did you know that the turtles actually
Made a deal with Satan, apparently.
apparently, but
Looks
no,
like
did you know that the turtles actually went out on a stadium tour?
Yes, I do.
I think I heard that.
They actually went
I remember
on
this.
a stadium tour. They did
It's a concert.
concert tour.
Terrible.
Oh man, it was just horrible. I'm gonna look it up right now. What it's called?
Sadness.
Oh man.
Okay,
It was
all
just
right, moving on. What's
Yeah.
next?
coming out of their shells tour. It was
Yeah,
just
that's
bad.
right. The coming out of your shell tour.
Transformers.
Oh my god.
Transformers. Come on.
I never
Transformers.
actually got into Transformers.
Everybody knows Transformers.
Transformers, right? You can't talk about the 80s without talking about the Transformers.
Transformers had a long-running history, actually, well into the 90s.
Well, the original cartoon only went from 84 to 87,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
I grew up with Beast Wars.
well, that was the early 90s, right?
What was
Yeah.
what was that one? Tell me what that one was.
So Beast Wars was... I can't remember how they managed to do this, but they crashed on like a proto-Earth, and they didn't have their forms, right? So
Did they
it was
have
like
to like take on the form of animals that they
Yeah,
saw? Just roam-
they
okay,
literally
I saw
they,
that.
they scanned animals around them,
And if they
became
stayed
those
in their
animals.
animal form outside of their ship for too long, they would sort of become that animal in a sense.
I don't remember that facet of it, but I know that they
No,
could
I
just switch back.
have such a strange memory of
Yeah.
that existing.
Because they, it was like, with the weirdest thing was just like, one guy was a wasp, and he was a rat, and Optimus was a gorilla, I think.
Yeah.
And the one dude was a rhino, and then for some fucking reason, Megatron was like, oh, here's some T-Rex bones. I'm gonna be a T-Rex. Like, so everybody else, these like random-ass characters, then...
Oh my god, it is exactly what I remember. It's not a
I'm
fever
a T-Rex
dream.
now. Yeah, no,
No.
it is. It was computer animated.
Yeah, I remember that. Like I'm looking at
Or-
some of the stuff right now.
Were all the Decepticons dinosaurs? Or was it just...
Oh, I feel like most of them were. Maybe not all of them.
Oh, wow. That CGI does not hold.
No,
Fucking right.
no, it
Oh,
doesn't.
Wow.
It
Yeah,
does
'cause
not.
Buddy was a cheetah, which was really cool. The one dude was like a snow leopard. There was like Rat Attack. He was like the most annoying, overtly Jewish character. I don't know why, but the whole time he just sounded like he was like Brooklyn. Just, whoa, go on.
Just, yeah.
Look out there, Optimus Prime. I was like, what the hell? One of them, there was a baboon. Oh my god. Yeah,
Now-
and Megatron was a T-Rex. Like, explain that one.
Well, he saw T-Rex bones and he thought, yeah,
It's like everybody else had to scan living creatures, but he just managed to find a fall. He was like, yeah, I can do this. Wazbinator, he was cool.
Spinator.
Wazbinator. I
Hmm.
remember him. Beast Wars.
Now,
Wow.
we're getting close to the end of the podcast here.
This reboot is what this reminds me of.
Yeah,
I know, we still haven't gotten into the 90s.
We haven't gone into the 90s. Well, we can do that. We can make that the next one if you want. You can come back and we can do that.
my childhood though is so messed when it comes to shows.
Is it?
That's what I mean.
Well-
I would love to get Will's sort of hot take on the cartoons he grew up with. I've
Well,
actually...
that's the thing. I didn't.
Weird is that we were talking about this earlier before we started recording. Will's mom is my age, so Will's mom would have introduced him to cartoons that we're just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have TV growing up, so I ended up
that's
having 100% legally downloaded shows.
Yes, very legally.
Very
Very
legal.
legally.
very legal methods that her
Yeah.
old boyfriend had downloaded, and like I would just watch like Pokemon and He-Man and She-Ra and Digimon.
Do you remember Metabots?
Metabots.
Yeah, look up Metabots.
Metabot. Let me see.
Meta with a D, Medabots. Metabots. I loved this show.
I don't think I've seen this one actually.
Okay, before
This is a good one.
before we end the podcast, okay, I'm gonna name out some cartoons, and I want you guys to tell me if you've seen them or if you remember them. Okay.
All right.
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yes.
Obviously.
Bobby's World.
Yes. Oh my god.
Don't think so.
No.
Voiced
Bobby-
by
Howie Mandel.
No.
Yeah, voiced by Howie Mandel. Tailspin.
Oh, he's a copper kid again.
Oh, Will, did you just?
No,
Oh.
no, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. Tailspin.
Tailspin. I did see a few episodes of that as a youngin.
Yeah. How about Tiny Toon Adventures?
Yes.
What was that you cut out on me? I missed it.
Tiny Toon Adventures.
Tiny Toon
Oh.
Adventures.
Oh yeah.
Darkwing Duck.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think so.
This is the one that Aaron knows very well.
Darkwing Duck.
This is the one that Aaron knows very well.
Let's get
The
dark.
Tick.
Oh god, I love The Tick.
The Tick.
I recently just like binge watched. I went back and watched the cartoon. Watched the series on Amazon Prime. I love The Tick. I'm a very big Tick fan.
Spoon.
Spoon.
Do you know of The Tick, Will?
I think I actually have seen like a 1 or 2 episodes here and there.
That is such a great, just parody, sort of the whole superhero genre. I think was really fun about that show.
It was a good show. I really have to get back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Muppet Babies.
Oh god. Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Muppet Babies. Before Garfield the cat, obviously you know Garfield the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was Heathcliff.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I remember Heathcliff. I didn't actually watch much of it, or I think I've seen him out in.
Have you heard of Heathcliff, Will?
I don't think so.
If you have a chance, look him up. Heathcliff.
See, when were you born, Will? I think that's we got off on the wrong foot.
2000.
Yeah, okay. Millennium baby.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so again, he's only 19,
Right.
right? You'll be 20 sometime this year, right?
So you sort of were born just as like the golden era of cartoons were sort of gestating, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of missed all the good shit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, because there was not. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say like the silver era, maybe like the golden era would probably have to be the 80s because that's really where cartoons took their form, right? But then the 90s, that's when they just got up and running and started doing some amazing stuff. Like MTV was putting out cartoons, and like that's mostly my list is 1999.
Now, I'm going to name a couple more. Now we've been naming a lot of male dominated shows like, you know, Transformers and Thundercats and all that sort of stuff.
Please
What
tell me you're
about-
about to mention My Little Pony.
Oh, I was
No.
just gonna sing it.
No, not My Little Pony. But, you know, that's still on. Like my daughter watches that.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It's amazing to think, like, yeah, My Little Pony's been around forever.
Now, the one that I remember from back in the
It's
day
the 60s, I think.
was what I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But the one that I remember is She-Ra,
Mm-hmm.
which
Obviously, I've
is
seen
supposed to be He-Man's, you know, long forgotten sister or something. But the one that I was going to name was Gem.
Yeah, Gem.
Was
Gem?
Gem?
Was really popular. Gem was really popular.
Yeah, Gem was like Hannah Montana before Hannah Montana.
Oh, what was the other one?
Gem.
Gem, Jem.
I probably shouldn't search this.
Then there's the other one. Then there's another one. The Gummy Bears.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah, kind of like that.
I was just gonna say I started searching pussy and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh.
You're gonna go somewhere totally different.
That's right. The internet was taking me down a different hole there.
That's a whole. That's a whole other podcast.
That's
A
right.
whole
Josie,
other podcast.
Ooh.
Josie and the Pussycats was. My mom watched Josie.
Now, do you
Archie comic stuff there?
That's
Aaron,
the 70s.
do you remember the Gummy Bears?
No,
No.
not the Gummy Bears.
The Gummy
Yeah.
Bears.
The Adventures of the Gummy Bears.
Sounds delicious.
Well, it was. Then there was
They don't look very gummy in their pictures here.
one of the most obscure cartoons from back the 80s, but it was a British cartoon.
Ooh.
And it was literally called Banana Man.
Okay, I gotta look this up real quick.
Banana Man
BNA.
cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Banana Man. If you guys are listening out there, you need to look it up.
Oh,
Look up-
Jesus.
Oh my
Look up
Christ.
Banana Man.
That is some cosplay right there.
Yeah.
Why does he
Banana
look so angry?
Man. I don't know.
I think next time there's a con here in our city, I know what I'm gonna.
Banana Man.
Yeah.
Look at those shoes.
Yep. Banana Man.
He is just taking that to the extreme. I want to see.
Damn.
I want to see a fight between Banana Man and Batman, and
And the
I mean,
tick.
you can
And
see a
the
fight with the Turtles and Batman.
That's true.
I have that movie.
Banana Man. Oh, that's wild.
All right, so I hope I hope you enjoyed the trip of nostalgia down the 1980s and early 90s rabbit hole.
Well,
But some honorable mentions.
part of it was nostalgic for me, even.
Gotta
Yeah,
do some honorable mentions for the 90s.
Yeah.
Biker Mice from
please
Mars.
do.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Biker Mice from Mars was that was my jam. I mean, the toys. The coolest part about the toys was the little antenna actually moved in and out of their heads. You could put their helmets on, their biker helmets. Street Sharks.
Street Sharks, yep.
Both of those were amazing for toy sales. Like that was the jam. I remember having Street Sharks and Biker Mice from Mars. I think the anthropomorphic animals thing was huge for some.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen Samurai Pizza Cats?
Oh,
Samurai
hell yeah.
Pizza
That's a
Cats, yeah.
classic.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember watching Samurai Pizza Cats after Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Like, Power Rangers would come on Saturday morning, and then I would watch Samurai Pizza Cats right afterwards.
Loved those.
And so you gotta another mention, Smurfs.
Smurfs, of course.
We gotta talk about them.
The Smurfs.
Other ones I can't remember off the top of my Darkwing Duck. But then there was another one where the theme song is still stuck in my head to this day, and I still find myself singing the song.
Bucky O'Hare.
Bucky O'Hare, that's one, but I sang it at work the other day, and I find myself humming the tune every now and then. Denver, the Last Dinosaur.
Oh God, that is an old one.
Denver, the Last Dinosaur. It was just one of the last ones that it's still in my head to this day.
Yeah, you've got a knack for that. Is remembering a lot of themes and stuff.
I don't know why. I have no idea why. It's just there. It's just there.
Awesome.
All right, so we're gonna end it right now. So thanks for listening to There's Nobody Here Named Josh.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my name's Kevin. I'm your host. This is Will, and usually Rob, but he's not here right now.
Still calling you out.
Yep, still calling you out.
Shame.
Shame. There's Nobody Here Named Josh was produced by Adam Upper, aka Stump Chunkman, and our logo. I know. Our logo
Best
was
name.
Our logo was created by the amazing Aaron Alessandrini, and who's here with us right now.
How
You
y'all
can
doing?
you can follow what we're doing on our social media. There's No Josh on Instagram and Twitter. There's Nobody Here Named Josh podcast on Facebook and even on YouTube.
We're on YouTube now.
And we are on YouTube. And you can find this podcast wherever you find your podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Anchor. You can find us all over, anywhere you find your favorite podcasts. So thank you very much. Next week, we're going to do another one of these. Stay tuned on our social media to find out what the topic is going to be. So I'm going to say bye-bye. But do you have anything left to say, either of you, before we go?
Yeah, what the fuck was Bravestarr?
You're gonna have to watch Bravestarr to find out.
Watch Bravestarr. Watch cartoons. Don't let that thing die. Go back, support it, buy the DVDs. I mean, this is a part of our mythos, a part of our history, right? Like, these are things that shaped us. Cartoons today are absolutely garbage. So.
I know they're horrible to this day. So thank you guys very much for listening to There Is No Josh, and remember, the number one rule of this podcast is that there is no Joshes here. All right, I will talk to you guys later.
No sense.
I know. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.